Hey everybody, Nerdy Transformed here again, and today I'm reviewing the Transformers Power of the Primes Deluxe Class Jazz. It's always good to see a classic character, it's just an unfortunate to see him under these circumstances. As you can see here, he starts with a nice sleek looking sports car. He has all the tempo graphs you would expect to see on a Jazz figure. He's got like the blue and red and light blue stripes. Got a blue number 4 on the front, nice little Autobot symbol there. Got the number 4 on the side as well with some blue striping. Also says Autobot Jazz on the side, and Energon, which I guess because instead of Diesel, it's Energon. So it's got some cool little things going on. It technically has a lot more paint than you expect since this is mostly clear plastic on top. All of this on the front here is painted white. And it does match alright with the white plastic. I mean, in certain lighting you can kind of tell the difference, but for the most part they do blend together fairly well. The overall look of the car isn't really what you expect of G1 Jazz though, since this is kind of like a different look for him. It's not really like a sports car, it's more like a race car, if that makes sense. This is more like what you expect to see in like Cars the movie or something, like Pixar's Cars. It just looks kind of weird for Jazz. I don't see him he always comes off more of a lax guy, not really a speedster, gotta go fast kind of guy. This is more something you would see with Blur. But, you know, thanks to like the clear plastic up here, you do get some really nice looking headlights though. Then that's not actually like a piece of clear plastic, you can actually touch them. What it is this whole top is clear plastic, and the headlights are painted from the inside, very similar to how the Dinobots are. It's a really cool effect, but we'll get to why it causes some problems later. For now, let's get to his Prime Armor, which can be attached via this peg that flips out. And you can attach it either pointing forward, on top, oh, if we can actually get it in there. Oh man. Really tight peg holes on him. I'm not sure why. I think it's the paint. But you can get it in there. You can have it like pointing forward. You can fold the thumbs out. Call it a weapon. You can also flip it around. Pretend it's some kind of speed boost. But, you know, this kind of destroys all sense of aerodynamics as it makes him look kind of bulky and stupid, honestly. Kind of like really slow looking. I mean, I know he's a ground vehicle, but aerodynamics do still apply to him here. But if you do want to give him the boost kind of thing, or have the hand Prime Armor involved still, I recommend doing that. Which, yeah, makes him look really like he's got a big old chunk of, like he's towing something, but it does give him the kind of the booster engine. You can even kind of flip the thumbs up to kind of be against the thing, and it still keeps him pretty aerodynamic. So if you absolutely must attach it, I think it's probably the best way you can do it. And from the front, it does look like he just has a big old, like, booster going on there. So that's alright at least. And then he does have his, there it is, gun. It's a fairly small gun, and it doesn't peg on the side for, like, most car vehicles, which is pretty nice. He does just peg in like that on either side. And it's small enough that it kind of looks like it's just a flip-out weapon, kind of like some wacky racist style. That's kind of what's going on here for me. It's like a wacky racist style vehicle. And, you know, you got, like, the giant turbo boost, or maybe Speed Racer. Maybe this is Speed Racer's car. It does look very similar. But, you know, the gun doesn't stick outside like a lot of Combiner War style vehicles go. It does just stick outside here. And it looks a lot more natural. It doesn't stick out quite as bad as they usually do. So overall, I think his car mode's pretty decent. So let's get him to his Combiner modes. And here we have Jazz in his leg mode. And you can see I'm using one of the Grimlock feet. And you can attach the Prime Armor to the back to give him more of a heel spur. And in leg mode, Jazz doesn't look too good. It's pretty much what you expect from the leg mode, but doesn't quite work no matter what angle you look at from. I mean, because all that really happened was that there's not really much transformation under that. This whole top half separated out. I mean, literally it was just from there to down here and tab it in. And to be honest, it doesn't quite look right no matter where you're looking from. I mean, you look at it from the front, and it just looks like you're using half a car for... I mean, it makes it look kind of solid-ish, but it doesn't quite work. I guess it looks kind of solid, but you look at it from the side, and yeah, it looks like a car that got into a really bad wreck. That's pretty much all there is on it. I mean, that's my main problem. It really just looks like a car that got into a bad accident. It doesn't really look like his leg or really even solid at all from the side. It just looks like a leg, like half a leg with a bunch of kibble sticking off of it. Like I said, from the front, it looks okay. I kind of think it looks good, but the moment you look at it from the side, it looks like complete crap. So yeah, I don't think he really pulls off a successful leg mode. So let's get to arm mode. And here we have Jazz in his arm mode. And he has the typical kind of Combiner Wars aesthetics you kind of come to expect. I mean, you got like the shoulder that's really thin with a really wide forearm. It's pretty much everything that was kind of wrong with the Stunticons in their arm modes and kind of just brought here. One major problem though is that you can see all the hollow bits. I mean, if you want the double elbow you kind of expect, you gotta do it this way, which gives you the hollow bits. You could flip it around, but then you pretty much just have what looks like robot legs. Like, it's clearly just two robot legs. At least from this side, it kind of looks like just a car turned into an arm, but I do like the hand better, though. The hand definitely works better than Combiner Wars hands. Well, you do get stuck with two thumbs, unless you want to kind of just flip it away like that. Kind of underneath. Which just makes it look like he has a broken thumb, so I'm just going to leave it folded up like that. And then the shoulder's got some issues because the official transformation is to kind of have it out to the side like this. But the problem is it doesn't seem to peg in anywhere. Not anywhere I can find anyway, so it's just flopping around. Now you could kind of collapse it back in like it was in car mode, like so. And I see this a lot online where people have done this. But then you kind of have a problem with the swivels here because everything's banging into each other right here with the hips. Plus, once again, extremely thin shoulder. So it's just it's pretty much everything you kind of expect from like reusing Combiner Wars ideas. It just gives them, it makes it look like a giant Popeye arm. I mean, you know, tiny shoulder, big, thick forearm. It's a Popeye arm, basically. Other than the hand being better than the Combiner Wars ones, it's really just an okay arm mode. He's really not meant to be a combiner. He doesn't quite work with it. So let's go ahead and get him to his robot mode. Alright, now we finally have him in robot mode, and this is easily his best mode. But even this mode has a lot of issues. We'll get to that though. First off, transformation is a major issue for his figure, as it's really samey to what you got with a lot of Combiner Wars figures. With only really slight differences, but not enough to really make it feel fresh. I mean, if you remember Titan's Return Chrome Dome, he basically reused the Combiner Wars car mold from like Dead End and such, but he did some new stuff to kind of make it feel different. Jazz here doesn't really do anything. Ironically enough, in some ways, he actually kind of feels worse, like how his legs transform. I know I skipped the transformation, but I do want to show you like what I mean, because how they transform is the usual thing of just kind of folding up inside and closing up. But the thing is, how it opens, instead of coming back or coming outward, they open up inward. Which means when you're transforming him, you have to split the legs, which doesn't sound that bad, but a lot of times, especially when you're transforming him from car to robot, or even transforming him back to car, you have to really just kind of edge things past each other. They bump into each other while transforming them, and it just doesn't feel good. The only thing that's really kind of interesting is how the chest transforms with the head flipping out and everything, but that also becomes a problem because of the clear plastic. Because all that, let's go ahead and get to that. All of this up here, the entire upper torso is all clear plastic. Like, all of this is clear plastic. Just to show you, once again, we're going to pop them apart. All of it is clear plastic, not counting the arms and like the torso and everything. The whole back panel and the hood and everything is all clear plastic. Even this little, wait, is this a little bit clear plastic? I believe it is. No, that's actually white plastic painted over, but still, all of this is clear plastic that's been painted over. Yeah, so all of that, with all the hinges and everything, and what does the main part of the transformation is all clear plastic. And also uses tabs to hold it together in robot mode. The tabs are clear plastic. So yeah, you can see why I might be worried about that. Also, the pieces that hold the shoulder in place are clear plastic, I believe. Yeah, right there. Not the white hinge, but what the white hinges are attached to is clear plastic. So yeah, he doesn't even have like an actual plastic skeleton. His entire top is all clear plastic, and it really worries me because considering you have all those hinges, it's like this whole figure is like 40% clear plastic. The front hood, the entire top of the car, all painted over. It looks nice, but now you have to sit there and worry about tight hinges cracking, and also you have to deal with the possibility of all that paint chipping. That's the main issue with this figure, is that you have all this clear plastic up here. You have the whole figure relying on it for transformation, for movement and such. So all of this clear plastic has to handle all of the tension of the arms moving, the head moving, the transformation hinges moving around. And on top of that, even if they don't crack or anything, you now have all that paint to be careful about, because the entire front top of the hood there and the entire back there is all painted over, so it could all easily chip all off and completely ruin the look of the figure. So yeah, good job, Hasbro. And on top of that, he also has like some odd looking legs. I can't quite explain it, but the hips have a very odd shape to them. Like they're bony in a weird way. I don't know how you quite make a Transformer look really bony, but they managed to do it. Like he has a really wide circular top hip, and then they just get really skinny and scrawny, and then they just go into his normal legs. It doesn't look bad, and it's not really too noticeable, but it is just a very odd kind of molding thing going on. Like I said, I can't really explain it. It just looks really, really weird to me. It might just be me, but it looks really weird. It's just an oddity in molding. He also has loose knees to kind of go with that, so that's... Well, they're only kind of loose, but they were looser before. I don't know how they stiffened up. They managed to stiffen up. But let's get to one of his gimmicks, the Prime Armor. So how this is supposed to work with him is that he has little divots right below the headlights. So you just attach the Prime Armor to there. And that could kind of help thicken out his chest. But there's quite a few problems with how this looks. I mean, for one thing, the Prime Armor just always looks stupid. I don't care what figure you attach it to. The closest it looks to okay is when it's attached to Slug, and that's why because it's flat against his chest. But here, it's kind of just floating out there. Like, literally just floating around. Like, literally, I'm not even joking around, it's just floating. Even attached where it's attached to the chest, it's just attached by the tabs. It's not even actually touching his chest, which I guess means you have to worry about paint scraping. But, I mean, how's that armor when it's just floating down? Like, if you get shot there, it would just pop off and probably do more damage by flying into you, like you just got punched in the gut. So, yeah, that looks really dumb, to be honest. But you could remove the clear plastic piece and give him the little data pad broken piece of glass that it looks like. And have him hold that. And pretend it's a gun. And I still think it looks stupid. Or just give him his actual gun. And that looks alright. Just take the stupid Prime Armor thing, attach it to the back, and never look at it again. I mean, at least it stores away pretty nicely, but yeah, screw that thing. Or, you know, you could, if you do really have to have a shield or an armor, do something like that and pretend it's like a shield like that. Or pretend it's some kind of, like, gas blaster, air blaster. You can pretend, there's a lot of things it could be. And it would look better than the stupid Prime Armor thing. I know I'm really harking on this Prime Armor, but it really does just look really bad in this figure in particular, it looks really bad. Especially since you have to worry about his clear plastic paint chipping and just cracking all together. So how's his articulation? It actually looks like it'd be pretty good, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. Starting with the head, it is ball jointed. And I forgot to mention this is a really nice looking head. I mean, it's a really good looking head for Jazz with the visor and the face and everything. Really well painted too. But the head is ball jointed, so it swivels around. And you can look down and up slightly. The arms do rotate, and they can go outward that far, although they're kind of on a floating joint. You do get ball jointed elbow. And the hands, this is one of the things that kind of pissed me off. They're actually separate pieces to where you actually have a swivel. You can see they put a mushroom peg there. These are meant to swivel. And you can even swivel them very slightly. But then you have that goddamn door there. The door panel that forms the arm. All they had to do was put a hinge here to flip it back, and you could have used the hand. Or have it be part of the legs and have it hinge on that legs. I don't know. Anything other than just leave it there, because now you actually give us a separate piece, using up extra money for this figure, to give him a hand swivel, and he can't even actually use it. Like, he can't use it at all. You can't get any movement. Let me show you with the gun. There it is always to the left, and there it is always to the right, all the way to the right. There is a very slight movement, but you can't do anything else with it, and it's infuriating. But you can move the back hip all the way, give him a nice swivel, ball jointed hips, up, and they'll just pop right off. Swivel there, 90-degree knees, and you do get some ankle movement if you want to count that. So if you want to count that, you can give them some ankle movement there. But those wrists, that just really makes me mad that Hasbro actually went through the effort of giving us separate wrists, of giving us actually like some decent articulation on a Deluxe figure, just like some extra bit, and it just wasted it. Like, you even went through the extra effort of putting it there and just wasted it like a tease. It's just infuriating. So overall, he's a decent try at a new Jazz. I can see where they're trying. I really do with Power. I want to like Power to Prime's Jazz. He's got a really decent sculpting over. I really like the head on him. I really like the idea behind him. I really like the idea of like a combiner Jazz to kind of complete the whole Autobot troops with Optimus and everything. He looks good, but that's it. He only looks good. There's just too much focus on the clear plastic as a gimmick, and yes, I'm calling that the whole clear plastic thing a gimmick because there's no other reason for it other than to do the stupid headlight thing. Like, think about that. They made all of this clear plastic as well just for those headlights, just because it was a gimmick with the Dinobots as well. And on the Dinobots, it's not too good either because you still have to worry about the clear plastic, but at least it makes sense for their character based on how their G1 toys looks. Here, there's no reason for it other than as a gimmick. They wasted both paint and articulation, as they used a lot of paint to cover up all that clear plastic, and then they molded it where the articulation they put in can be used. Like, literally, there's no reason for that mushroom pig to be there other than to give him a wrist swivel, and then they blocked it off. This figure just makes no sense. And it's just the saddest part about the figure is the wasted potential. As this is a Jazz, this could have been a big seller alongside the Dinobots. But they just wasted so much of him. This has been Nerd Transformed. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you have a good day. Take care.